All right, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this webinar, the CIA Challenge Exam. I've subtitled it Everything You Need to Know, and really this is really going to try to go over all the high-level stuff that you really need to know if you're considering the CIA Challenge Exam or currently trying to study for that. We will have questions and answers at the end. However, I do have someone moderating the chat. So if throughout today's webinar, you just want to put in your questions as they come, I'll try to answer as many as I can in the time that we have together today. So my name is Melissa Leonard. I'm the CIA product manager here at Gleim. And as this original CIA review course, #1 CIA course, we've been trusted to help people pass the CIA exam over the last 40 years. And so we do get a lot of inquiries about the challenge exam, the CIA challenge exam. So we wanted to share kind of the main points to know, if you're considering this option, what is it that you need to know as far as the registration process, the details as far as what's tested on it and how it's tested, and how you can go about studying for the CIA challenge exam. I won't dive into a lot of the topic areas. However, we will kind of go over that syllabus there for the CIA challenge exam in comparison to the three-part CIA exam. So our agenda today is, first I'm going to go do a little CIA overview, and it's more CIA in general as far as kind of why you want to become a CIA. And that's for those that are just kind of getting started and trying to decide if this is an opportunity that they want to pursue. And then kind of go over those main reasons to become a CIA. Then we'll dive into an overview of the CIA challenge exam, the content, question types, and those kind of details. We'll then discuss who's eligible to take the CIA challenge exam, and then we'll go over a little bit of a savings breakdown, because really the CIA challenge exam is an opportunity for those who are interested to become CIAs to do so maybe with a little less time and maybe save a little bit of money and time because they've already had these other credentials. And then we'll go over how to register. And then finally, as I mentioned, at the end, we will do some question and answer. I am also recording today's webinar, so we will make this available on our website after today's webinar for anyone who wants to go back and review it or reference anything, or if you have any friends and colleagues who are unable to attend and do, want to watch this as well at a later date. That will be available. All right, so we'll just go ahead and get started and dive right in. Again, we're just kind of going to go over this kind of brief overview of what is the CIA, what is it that it does for you. Organizations all across the globe, it's a global designation, are relying on their internal audit teams, now more than ever for their risk-based and objective assurance, advice, and insight. Right now, again, because it's this global designation and we're in this global economy with everything that we're faced with right now, like I said, it really is an important certification. It provides some skill sets and shows that you have these skill sets for employers. The Certified Internal Auditor certification is the only globally recognized certification in the internal audit and compliance industry. According to the IIA, by earning the CIA, individuals demonstrate their professionalism in the internal audit field and gain educational experience, information, and business tools that can be applied immediately in any organization or business environment. And, here just kind of some job titles, which a lot of you are probably already working in internal audit, so know some of this, but you can have internal auditing manager, quality assurance manager, compliance officer, and the CAE, among many other job titles as an internal auditor. And again, these slides are just kind of a brief overview, give you that motivation as you're working towards becoming a CIA, why you should pursue it, why you should take this opportunity if it's available to you, or why you should, just be continuing to work towards your certification. The CIA does give you, there's some great value and benefits to becoming a CIA. First is it provides opportunities to move forward in your career. Even if you already have other certifications, so because to do the challenge exam, you do have to be a CPA or CA, chartered accountant already. Having that CIA just allows you to move in different directions, move up in your career as an internal auditor, just really showcase that you have the skill and the knowledge and allow you to show that you have that certification. Again, it is a globally recognized certification, so the opportunities, can span for where you work, what kind of job you work in, what kind of organization or employer. Again, it's just this globally recognized certification that can really take you anywhere in your career. You'll also earn respect with the commitment to invest in your professional development. And this is actually really important. It really shows your employer and also your colleagues that you have the skills and acumen of, of a certified internal auditor. Passing this exam shows that you are an internal audit expert. So it's just a great way, again, to earn that respect that doing this commitment really shows to your peers and to your managers. You establish expertise and build confidence. So as I mentioned, just by taking the CIA, you really are working on increasing your skills and education and information, and it helps you to build your confidence as you go into your career. And then, of course, the big one is it can increase your earning potential by up to 51%, which is always a big one, right? So you have this is the tangible, and then you have all the intangibles of becoming a CIA. Right. So the CIA Challenge Exam overview. So the challenge exam is designed for auditors who are already a chartered accountant or a CPA and from a qualified accounting body, and they want to become a CIA, a Certified Internal Auditor. So again, you do have to already be a chartered accountant or CPA from these select accounting bodies. The exam combines different parts of the 3-part CIA exam. So it takes from part 1, part 2, and part 3 and excludes information that's tested on, the certificate or license that you already hold. So in a lot of ways, it is a faster or more affordable way to earn your CIA if you qualify for it. Again, just because you don't have all of the different exam fees. You don't have to take 3 exams and study for 3 exams. So it can save you some time and effort and money there if you already have if you meet the qualifications. So the CIA Challenge Exam is 150 multiple choice questions. So just like the CIA exam, it is multiple choice questions only, but it's 150. The test is 3 hours in length, and it is offered through Pearson Vue, just like the CIA exam, and it does have available to you the testing center at Pearson Vue or the online, where you can take it online at home through Pearson Vue. The exam is on a scaled score with 600 points being the passing score. Now, this doesn't necessarily break down into percentage, but just like all of the IIA certification exams, just like the CIA exam, it is a scaled score of 250 to 750 with 600 being that passing. The exam is only offered in English. So the exam breakdown too, as I mentioned, it takes from all 3 parts of the CIA exam. And here you can see about 35% of part 1, with 43% of part 2, and then 22% of part 3. And these are going to be the topics that really are focused on, internal audit. Just to kind of give you a little rundown here. I'm not going to dive into all the very specific details of the syllabus, but for part one, so for the CIA Challenge Exam, that 35% of part one, it does include topics like foundations of internal auditing, independence and objectivity, proficiency in due professional care, you have fraud risks, governance risk management and control, and quality assurance and improvement program. So those topics are found, as well as managing the internal audit activity, which now this is moving into the part two portion of the topics tested, planning the engagement, performing the engagement. You also have communicating engagement results and monitoring process. And then you have from the part three of the current, of the three-part CIA exam, business acumen, data analytics, IT, and security. So that's kind of from the three-part exam, kind of what you would find in the CIA Challenge Exam topics tested. Who is eligible? So again, as I mentioned, it's chartered accountants or CPAs from qualified licensing bodies, accounting bodies. So here you can see this is the list. You have Association of Chartered Certified Accountants at the ACCA, Chartered Accountants of New Zealand, Canada, CPA Australia, Hong Kong, India, England and Wales, Scotland. You also have the Singapore Chartered Accountants, the Philippine Institute of CPAs. You can just see here this full list. And then for CPAs here in the US, any state board of accountancy, if you have a CPA license. And this is just an important list for you to kind of recognize, make sure that you do qualify. Again, you do have to be a chartered accountant or a CPA and have passed the exam through one of these bodies here. All right, and so then just a little breakdown of the fees and the costs here. So the CIA Challenge Exam itself is for IA members, it's $1,195 US. For non-members, it's $1,545. So you do save a little bit of money by being a member of the IIA. Now, you don't have to be a member of the IIA to take the challenge exam or the three-part CIA exam, unless, of course, you're going through South Africa, UK, and Ireland. Those are ones that do require membership to apply to take the CIA exam, those institutes. However, like I said, you do save some money by being an IIA member. And then you can see I gave you the breakdown of the costs for if you're doing the three-part exam, so then you can kind of see that total savings for registering for the CIA Challenge Exam versus the three parts of the CIA exam. And then this is more a study time. We kind of took an average of, studying for the CIA exam, and then also kind of the topics that are tested on the challenge exam, and kind of did an average there. So this is average study time, but for the three-part CIA exam, it could take you 255 to 285 hours total to study for all three parts, with about 24 to 30 weeks. If you have an average of about 12 hours per week to study. But for the CIA Challenge Exam, you could save some significant time with 140 to 150 hours with 10 to 13 hours, or 10 to 13 weeks, excuse me, kind of taking in that savings there. All right. So how to register. So the CIA Challenge Exam, you're eligible. You verified that you're eligible. You first have to apply. You receive that approval from the IIA. You do this all through the CCMS, the Candidate certification management system on the IIA's website. You apply for it, you receive that approval. When you apply for it, you do have to submit a letter stating that you have that certification that you're a chartered accountant or from your state board of accountancy for CPA, saying that you do hold that certification. You receive the approval from the IIA, and then you actually register for the CIA Challenge Exam. You then, from the time that you register for it, you have 100, or from the date of your application, you have 180 days to register, schedule, and sit for the exam. So then after you accept, your application's accepted, you do have to register, then you can schedule it through Pearson Vue, which can also be handled all through the candidate management system. And then you have to take your exam. Now, the CIA Challenge Exam, right now, the application and registration window is open. It was opened August 1st through the end of this month. So through the end of September, you do need to apply for that. Then you can go ahead and, like I said, register and schedule it within 180 days. This means of the exam windows, you must take it in November of this year or January of 2022. So those are going to be the initial take periods windows. Now, I have here kind of registration and scheduling is continuous. That's kind of more because if you don't pass it in that November or January testing window, you do have 3 years to complete the program. So if you don't pass it, you have to register to retake your exam. And if you don't pass it in that January or November or January, you can then just register again and take it. And schedule it for April, July, or November. Those are the retake windows. So those windows, like if you'll notice, there are those windows open, but those are just for retaking of the CIA Challenge Exam if you don't pass it in the November or January testing windows. All right, so we just went through kind of like the really high level stuff. So now I'm going to I saw a lot of questions coming in. So I'm going to try to take some questions to really make sure that I can help everyone out and get everyone's questions answered for what they need to know about the CIA Challenge Exam. Okay. All right, so the first question is about, someone, what they scored on the exam and not getting their 600. The question is, can you tell me about how many out of 125 questions have I answered correctly? Really, again, it's a scaled score, so it's not going to break down to a very specific number of questions. I can say a 578 is very close. So really just looking at your test results, the score report that you get, and looking at kind of where you can study and focus before your next one. Another question is about, they have part 1 scheduled this Friday. Well, good luck on your exam. I do want to let if you're scheduled for any of the CIA exams, good luck. Again, it's what you should be focusing on right now, or when you're studying for any of these exams, is as you go through the quizzes, if you're averaging, I would say, anywhere between 70 and 80%. I know that's a big range, but those are going to be for your quizzes that are maybe shorter and kind of covering a variety of topics, and just making sure that when you miss questions, you're really learning the topics that or learning why you missed the questions that you missed, and also going through and reviewing the questions that you got right, reviewed those answer explanations as well to make sure that you answered questions correctly for the right reason. Just make sure that you're not focused on memorizing questions, that you are really focused on learning so that you can really use that to propel you forward for that exam. Um, there's a question about in Gleim for our mock exam about a maximum number of questions. I'm not really sure exactly what this question is referring to. Like within the premium review course, we do offer final mock exams that do the exact number of questions for each part of the exam. But if you're using our test prep, I'm not 100% sure, like if that's where this question is coming from, asking about why do we have a max of 120 and not 125 to do that. So I'm just not 100% sure what that question is asking. So this is a great question. How do we use Gleim resources to prepare for the challenge exam? We actually, we recognize that people want to take the challenge exam. It's a great opportunity and it is a limited time opportunity, right? Last year was the kind of pilot, and then this year they've continued it. And it's a limited opportunity, but it is a good opportunity. If you have our Gleim materials, you can reach out to us. We do have a cross-reference where it will cross-reference the CIA Challenge Exam syllabus to the CIA review materials, so you can know where to focus and where to review within the materials that you already have purchased. We do have quite a few people who use that. Okay. And a lot of that's because a lot of times some people start with the 3-part and then they realize they have this opportunity, but also we have a lot of candidates who, like I've said, they want the Gleim materials because they know that they're getting quality questions, quality materials, and so we have this challenge, this cross-reference that we created so that they can use the Gleim materials and reference it with the syllabus and study only what they need to focus on. How often is the CIA Challenge Exam offered, and is the deadline 9/30/21? So the deadline to apply for it is 9/30/21. But as I mentioned, from there, you have those testing windows. Those testing windows are kind of on demand as far as if Pearson Vue has testing centers open or appointments available, whether it's at-home testing or at the testing center. The at-home is in a limited area, so it has to be available to you where you're at. But if there's an appointment available, those windows are kind of throughout the time, just as long as the testing centers are open with appointments available. And again, I'll pull that up so you can see what those windows are. You have November this year and January 2022. And then you have for retake windows, April, July, and November. All right. Is the certification through the CIA Challenge Exam route exactly the same with the certification through the normal CIA exam? I'm not entirely, I want to make sure I answer that question. So if I don't answer it specifically as you are asking, please feel free to try to add that back in and let me know. The CIA Challenge Exam, again, is if you pass the CIA, if you are eligible to sit for the CIA Challenge Exam because you have a chartered accountant or CPA through one of those qualified bodies, and then you sit for the CIA Challenge Exam upon completion, you would have certification. for the CIA exam, you do have to apply and register and do all those things and meet all the education and experience requirements. So, I mean, it's just a different route because you already have this other qualification. However, it does at the end lead you to being a certified internal auditor. And then once you've passed, you do still have the CPE that you have to maintain. Do you need to be an active CPA in order to apply for the CIA Challenge Exam? Yes, you do need to be an active, you do have to have an active license or be licensed through your state board or have a CPA license from any U.S. state board of accountancy. Okay, just going through these questions. So thank you guys for all of these great questions. So question is, can a CMA with 5 years of internal audit experience opt for the challenge exam of CIA? Unfortunately, no. It's only those qualifying a chartered accountant or a CPA from these qualified accounting bodies, which I just put back up on the screen there for you. So yeah, that's correct. You do have the question is, if you are not a CA or chartered accountant or CPA, you cannot take the challenge exam. So that's correct. These are what the requirements are here and who is eligible. Is there IT information security and IT technology on the CIA Challenge exam? It takes from part 3, the IT and security topics from part 3 of the 3-part exam. Okay. Again, just going through these questions here. Thank you, everyone. What does a scaled score mean? It means they convert. So you have 150 questions. They convert to a score to a scale of 250 to 750 points, and then 600 points is passing. It's just kind of it's kind of how a lot of these certification exams are scored. If we have a CGAP, are we eligible to take the CIA Challenge Exam? Again, for the CIA Challenge Exam, this is just if you have that. I mean, you could also have a CGAP, but you would still be required to have the CPA or the Chartered Accountant license. This is a great question. Is there a discount for academics? There's not to my knowledge, there's no discount on the actual challenge exam fees for academics. However, I do believe there are discounts for membership for academics, I believe. So, but you don't have to be a member in order to take the CIA Challenge exam. Okay. Still going through these. All right. When you select a practice exam, does Gleim assume automatically the percentage of questions that will eventually be? If you're, I guess, assume percentage of questions like from the exam itself, kind of I'm assuming it's kind of referencing you're asking if like the practice exams will pull in the percentage kind of as the breakdown of the exam. If you're using an exam rehearsal from our materials, we do that. If you're doing a practice exam, that's more of a custom. You kind of do the controls and determine. So that does not break that down. Why does Gleim allocate 1 minute per question, whereas the real exam is about 1.25 minutes per minute per question? That's a good question. We do that actually because if you get in the habit of practicing for 1 minute per question, that's actually going to give you, on average, that will give you time left over at the end to go back and review anything that you may need to review. So that's more of it. I mean, we're just trying to get you so that you can answer questions, as efficiently as possible, and keeping an eye on the clock and making sure that you're able to answer all of the questions and then go back and review any of the questions that you may have flagged for review, because maybe you made an educated guess and you want to go back and make sure that you still feel confident in that answer choice. And you can go back and review all those. What is the pass rate for the CIA Challenge Exam? I have not seen any pass rate information for the actual CIA Challenge Exam. Okay. Let's see here. When is the next application window? At this time, there's not another application window. It's just currently between now and the end of September for an application window for the CIA Challenge Exam. Okay. All right, just go through these questions here. My registration expired given COVID-19. Can we get an extension without paying additional fees? I would reach out to the IIA, go through the CCMS or their customer service, and start a ticket on that, and just ask them. Is Pearson Vue the only CIA-approved testing center? Yes, so the CIA exam is only offered through Pearson Vue as far as testing centers are concerned, even for any institute, any country, South Africa included. So just to clarify regarding the 180 days deadline, there are 180 days from application until exam or until registration. Once your application is approved, you then have you must register and schedule and sit for your exam within that 180 days, within 180 days. So kind of have to do all of it within 180 days from the time your application's approved. And I think when I was going over that, I did kind of mix up some words, so I apologize if I caused any confusion there. Does the IIA, so once you're certified, you do have to maintain continuing education hours. That's kind of the kind of what you have to do to maintain your certification. There's a question about, does the IIA accept NASBA-approved CPE credit? I would confirm with the IIA like what's approved, but I know a lot of CPAs and the CI use their CPA CPE towards CIA certification and stuff. So I think it's just making sure that your CPE covers the topics that are required and are, in line with professional education for an internal auditor. So question, just kind of what exactly is the CIA Challenge Exam and how does it differ from the CIA exams that we're familiar with? So that's, again, the CIA Challenge Exam is an opportunity for those who have the certification, have the chartered accountant or the CPA, to take the CIA and on this kind of like an alternative path for them to become a CIA. The exam itself takes from the 3-part exam, the regular CIA exam, and tests kind of topics that are essential to internal audit, not covered in these other accounting body certification exams, and tests them on this to make sure they have that knowledge for a CIA. So it's just a 1-part exam that takes from the regular CIA 3-part exam. If I register for the CIA Challenge Exam, does it cancel my registration and invalidate any existing passes for the 3-part CIA exam? So if you've already started with the 3-part CIA exam, first of all, if you've already passed parts for the 3-part CIA exam, I'd probably say just keep moving along forward with that. Every situation will be different, and if you want to contact us, we'll be happy to talk about that with you and see what's the best option for you. But you do, if you want to schedule, like if you want to change and move into the CIA Challenge Exam, you do have to open a ticket through your CCMS, and I think there's like a process with that, but it won't automatically drop you from your CIA part, the 3-part. Is there a fee to schedule and sit for the exam? There's a one bundle fee, like that fee that I was showing you here for if you're a IA member, the $11.95, or if you're US $1,195 US, or non-members $1,545 US. For those fees, that's a bundle fee for the application, registration, scheduling, everything there. Now, if you don't pass it and you need to retake it, there is a retake fee of $799 US for IA members, and then for non-members, it's $945 US. Okay. All right. Where can I find a detailed syllabus for the CIA Challenge Exam? I looked on the IIA site. It is available on their website. They have on their global IIA website, there is a syllabus for the challenge exam. We are also going to put it on our website. We have a webpage that talks about the CIA Challenge Exam, and it'll be available there as well, in access. All right, looks like I have a few more questions here. What about managerial accounting and financial accountants? Is that on the CIA Challenge Exam? If you're as far as from the part 3, that's going to be, let me get you here. just had that open, sorry. The CIA Challenge Exam, it's really for part 3 is going to focus on the data analytics, IT and security, and the business acumen. So it won't have that financial management and managerial accounting on there. Is there any negative marking for wrong answers? That's a great question. This is one of the reasons why, at Gleim, we tell candidates to always answer every question and never leave a question blank, because you get points for getting questions correct. You don't get points taken away for missing a question. So if you leave a question blank, you're just missing an opportunity to get points. Even if you get it wrong, you're not going to get points taken away. But if you don't answer it, you have no opportunity for points. So you don't get points taken off. There's no negative marking for a wrong answer. You just get points for every correct answer. So you want to make sure you answer every question. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I sat for my exam in November 20 and failed. Can I retake it in November 2022? If you're referring to the CIA Challenge Exam, if you took it last November, you should be able to take it. Yes, you should be able to take it in November 2021 because you're now in the retake, right? Because once you have registered and scheduled for it or applied for it, and you've been accepted into the CIA Challenge program, if you fail it, you do have 3 years and you can sit for those open windows, sit within those open windows. There's a question about CPEs that you receive once you do pass the exam. I think I don't know if you actually, not everyone gets CPE for passing a certification exam. I was referring earlier saying that if once you pass the exam and you are a CIA, you are required to then maintain continuing professional education hours. And whether you passed through the challenge exam or the regular 3-part exam, you have those CPE hours required. Okay. And for your CPE, just so that you can get some additional information, it's, reporting deadline is December 31st of each year. And it's, I believe, 40 hours of CPE each year with some specifics that are required, like some ethics courses and whatnot. If you've already bought Gleim, as I mentioned, you've bought the 3 sections of Gleim and you want to sit for the challenge exam, please reach out to us. We'll provide you with that cross-reference. We'll help you out. Make sure that you're studying what you need to study for the exam. All right, great question. Just to clarify, you can only take this exam for the first time in November 2021 or January 2022, and the other 3 dates in 2022 are retake dates. So in other words, could you take the exam for the first time in April of 2022? This is a great question. So just to clarify and confirm, so if you are just now applying and registering for the exam in this current registration window of August and September, you must take your first attempt in either the November 2021 window or January 2022 window. The remainder, the April, July, and November of 2022, tongue twister, is for retakes only. So your first attempts do have to be in this like November or January. Okay. See here. How do you become an IA member to benefit from the reduced costs? That's a great question. You can become a member through either just go to the IIA's global website. If you are in one of the countries, you can go through your institute's website to join and become a member. So if you're, say, in Singapore, you can go through that institute and join through that website. I've seen a couple questions about Gleim materials coming through. You know, we have recognized that there is a demand. There are people who are wanting to take this exam, so we want to help you out as much as we can, because we know people have relied on Gleim to help them pass the CIA exam. So please reach out to us. We'd be happy to kind of help you out, figure out how we can help you with our Gleim products with the challenge exam. All right. Okay, and I see a couple questions. It looks like someone answered a question that is the, let's see, that did reference that, which is for some institutes or for some associations, you might get CPE credits for passing the exam. So definitely check with your accounting body for sure. That's correct. There's no formal Gleim course currently for the challenge exam. That's correct. All right. All right, so with that, I don't see any other questions coming in, but I will say if you please, again, reach out to us if you have any questions, if we can help you out with the CIA Challenge exam, whether it's you're using the Gleim materials or you have other questions, please let us know. Please contact us here at accountingteam@gleim.com, or you can always give us a call. One last question kind of came in here. I guess what's the difference between non-member and member of IIA? Really, you don't have to be a member of the IIA to sit for the certification exams. You do have savings available to you as an IIA member, plus some other benefits like networking and other discounts on maybe events and stuff. So there are benefits to being an IA member. And with that, again, with the savings of the certification exams, but you're not required to be a member unless you're in Ireland, UK, or South Africa. For everyone that registered for today's event, the slides, I can make those available. I'll also have a resource guide very soon available. So, but we'll make these slides available to everyone so they can reference. And I'll direct everyone to our webpage that talks about the CIA Challenge Exam. We are always updating it and adding more information there as we get more questions from candidates. We want to make sure that we're always helping and providing as much information as we can for CIA candidates. So we'll always be updating this. I'm going to put this here in the chat so you can go to that if you want. And we'll also direct everyone here after this webinar. So just look for more information. This also was recorded. It will be available on our website after today's event. Within 2 business days, we usually get them up. So let's see. Quick question came in, is how long has the challenge exam been around? Last year, they kind of did the pilot. It is a limited time offer. So will they offer the challenge exam for CFSA holders once again? I don't have that information. I'm not familiar with that at this time. And then again, to register for membership, you can do that through the IIA.org or through your institute's global website. So again, if you have so like if you're in Malaysia and you want to join through the Malaysia Institute, you would just go through the Malaysia IIA Institute and you'd become a member through there. So limited time is that, like right now, this current registration period is the only registration period they'll have available. They've not announced any additional application or registration period. Besides that, the one thing is though that if you don't pass it, you do have 3 years from the time your application was approved to pass it. All right. So I hope I was able to answer everyone's questions. Again, if we didn't answer your question, please feel free to reach out to us here at this website. Go to accountingteam@gleim.com. It's their phone number. Give us a call, whatever is convenient for you. We're always happy to help. We're always happy to do what we can to help you on your journey to becoming a CIA and succeed. So we look forward to hearing from everyone. And again, please continue to check out that website. Our webpage will continue to provide as much information as we can on this opportunity for everyone. So thanks again. Have a wonderful day, everyone.